Welcome to the JoContractor Show, a podcast created by three regular Joes. The JoContractor Show is a place where trade professionals, business owners, and homeowners looking for solid advice and amusement can hear stories of great success and great failure in the turbulent and unpredictable world of construction. On the JoContractor Show, we dig deep into the realm of remodeling and construction. We chat with construction trade professionals, business owners, and homeowners alike. We support local independent contractors and those who put their trust in the hands of these capable and hardworking business owners and tradespeople. We discuss construction and home maintenance from multiple angles, and we do it with compassion, purpose, and humor. Listen as Lori, Merrick, and Sam, along with a wide variety of guests, explore topics related to construction, home ownership, small business creation, and more. A quick reminder, don't forget to send your questions to questions@JoContractorshow.com. And after you've done that, please take a moment to hit the like button, subscribe, or talk about us tomorrow morning at the local coffee shop. We appreciate feedback and critique, and it lets us know that you're out there and that you care.
Hit record so we can actually do this.
Yay!
Hey, you two.
Hey, Merrick. Hey, Sam.
Hi. Welcome everybody to the JoContractor Show, where we talk construction. We've been doing these construction quickies recently, which have been fun. We highlight different things that need to get taken care of on a house. It's kind of been the spring projects series.
Yeah, now we're into summer.
Yeah.
Today.
We jumped right through spring. We went from winter to summer, which is not fun in
I
a way.
think winter's coming again this weekend.
It's always coming. Yeah. It'll be fall soon.
Yeah. True.
I got a message from Will online, right? And Will said that the construction quickies are great because you can listen to them on the way to work.
There you go.
You listen to the whole thing.
15 minutes.
Yep.
That's just to put it out there to our faithful listeners. I want to say this. We have shot meteorically from 0 when we started, of course, to over 6,000 subscribers at this point, which is great. That means there's a lot of you out there who are listening but who don't subscribe because you think you're going to have to pay us or something like that. And no, Mom, you don't have to pay if you hit the subscribe button. I talked to her about that the other day, and she's like, oh, I always thought that meant you had to pay.
Yeah, everybody does, I think.
Yeah. So, no, you don't have to pay, and we rarely hear from people. We do occasionally, but if you want to reach out to us and let us know what you think of our show, that would be great.
Was that your own mom?
My own mother. Yeah.
She didn't subscribe?
I'm like, Mom, come on. I'm your son. Even if you did have to pay, couldn't you just pay a little bit, Ma? She's like, do you know how much I've paid for you over the years?
Right.
All right. Well, we have a guest today.
Oh, God, we're just wasting time.
Yes, we have Mike Halsey here. He's been, the last few years, he's been helping us with hardwood flooring. So he just actually did a bunch of work on my personal home. And, so I just...
So a hardwood flooring guy.
Welcome, Mike.
Yeah. How long have you been doing that, Mike?
31 years.
31 years. And you walked in here on your own power.
I did.
You weren't wheeled in.
Nope. No, I didn't need any assistance.
That's good.
It looks like you must know what you're doing then because you look fairly in shape.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's still hard on the body, though.
Yeah.
It is.
You have the up and down, and you're familiar with the up and down part of the job.
Yeah, I'm sure we've all been in the trenches doing hardwood floor at some point.
Right.
Just briefly, or only occasionally, because I usually left that one to the professionals.
That's the one trade you want to leave to the professionals.
You definitely do. I every time I've sanded one, like way back in the day, like never doing that again. And the third one, never doing that again.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well,
I think I was done after 5, though. That was it. Done.
I only ever did it when I didn't have any money, and I had to do it for myself.
The homeowner special there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've never done it. I've always known better.
Yeah.
Really?
Good job.
Just not because it's a horrible thing to do. It's just because it's like a skill. If you can really mess it up if you don't sand it right or you don't install it well.
Sure.
Yeah. True.
I've
you
done
think
that.
you're doing a good job when you're doing the sanding, but when you get a coat on it and then you see all the mistakes, then you know you should have hired somebody.
Oh yeah, every single time that's what I said. I should have hired somebody else.
Yeah, right. How'd you get into the trade?
I had done previous floor work for like tile work, carpet cleaning, that sort of thing, and I just never tried hardwood flooring. And when I was young, I used to look for a job in the phone book instead of like go to the want ads.
Oh my goodness!
And so I would go into the flooring section. I'd start calling companies, and a local guy had a flooring company here. I started with him for like $7 an hour, and I did it for a day. And I said, "I'm not coming back here for $7 an hour."
And
he gave me a raise right away. And I worked with him for a while. It turns out his dad was one of the big union shops in town, and he heard about me, and he started bugging me to come work for him.
Oh, cool.
So eventually I ended up joining the union and working for a bigger company.
So doing bigger projects.
Huge, huge scale stuff, yep.
So I think, just to be fair to our younger audience members, a phone book is a thing that used to have
yellow pages.
It was a directory. It was a directory of phone numbers, and the yellow pages were the portion of it that were businesses.
That's right.
Yeah, and then you said one other thing there. You said that you used to use want ads. Want ads were in the paper.
That's kind of dinosaur days too now.
Yeah. And you used to find jobs by looking in the paper and in the want ads.
There was a lot of jobs in the want ads.
Yeah, there were. It's like a
marketing
completely
was a
different
lot
world.
easier.
Yeah.
You probably got better results than you do like trying to find somebody on Craigslist.
Yeah.
On the want ads in the paper, they probably got better workers.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Craigslist is sort of the unholy union of the past there, and the present. It's all weird.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you started out working for someone else, and then you.
The son of the owner of the big business.
Okay.
I had no idea his dad was fully fortified with just about every job in the cities to go work on.
Huh.
Right.
But his son didn't work for him?
No, he was on his own. The guy had two sons that were both on their own. Yep. I don't want to name names, but
yeah,
that says a lot. They won't even work for their dad.
Yep. And then the original owner ended up selling to the daughter, and she came in and took it over.
Oh, yep. That's cool.
Then I was gone. I was done.
Yeah.
Yep.
That wasn't working for you.
She just wasn't from the same trade as we are.
Right.
So she had never done any hard labor?
Nothing like that.
She was just running a business.
Just running a business.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so you've been on your own.
Went on my own in 99.
Okay.
Yep.
God, that's
long
That's a
ago
long time.
right there.
Yeah.
I started in 92.
some years. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
You're almost on my track.
Right. Yeah, well,
87?
Not far off mine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's hard to believe it's been this long.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
How that happens?
But when you love what you do,
something better.
you don't just love what you do. That's why you're still doing it.
I always wake up and love what I do.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you still enjoy it?
Yeah. I like the not being in the same place all the time. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. New clients, new problems, new projects on floors to get done.
What part of the flooring projects are your favorite? Are your different sanding, finishing, laying, flooring?
I'd like the refinishing stuff. Taking the old and making it new again. Adding a little color to it, and then get a little white up against it. It looks like a whole different house most of the time.
Yep.
Do you do inlay?
Not too much. I do have installers that can do that for sure, though. Yep.
Yeah. Do you? How big is your company?
It's just me and one other guy right now. But
Okay.
We were talking earlier. I've had lots of employees.
Yeah.
I ran full crews and 3 installers full time, and I'm just downsizing. The quality control is better, and there's so many reasons why you should still be doing your own work when you can.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show started.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough when you're in the trades and you're good at something, because the natural tendency is to think like, oh, I should make a company out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hire other people who aren't necessarily as good as you are, and it's hard to train them, and hard to run a business. And
So many more problems.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and generally speaking, most people I know who do that don't make more money, you know. So.
The hardest thing for me about that and why I chose to scale it down was because I was so busy that I wasn't making wages personally anymore. And then I had to make all that money off of all the other people, and I made about the same amount.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you live with it day in and day out. You've kind of always got the specter of your business hanging over your shoulder, looking at you saying, what do you think you're going to take today off? Like, there's some invoices to write. There's some estimates to do. Like, it's nonstop.
Somehow you did it, though, Lori. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I took one day off for a funeral and come back, and I'm completely overwhelmed after one day.
Yep.
For a funeral. Oh, that's
Slacker.
that's awful.
But no, I've drawn the line in the sand. I was saying that earlier to Mike, that I much work 9 to 5, no nights and weekends anymore,
Yeah,
for the most part. You just have to let it go.
you do.
And not become overwhelmed.
It's hard to do when you say yes to everybody, though.
Yeah, I'm not that person anymore.
I've always been that person.
Yeah.
I have learned recently, like, no is fine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took a while to learn it, but
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
Yeah, when you're in a service-driven industry, it sort of pushes you to think that you need to say yes to everything. And if you're listening to this and you're wondering, why am I stressed all the time? It's probably that you're saying yes too much.
Yes.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do a snow plow, too, right?
Yep. Yeah, I plow snow in the winter, every winter, about the same amount of time, 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, the year after the Halloween storm, I was like, that's it. I'm getting a four-wheel drive and a plow.
God, I love that
Pretty
storm.
good year to be a plow guy, huh?
Well, I got in it the year after.
Oh, I'm saying this year.
This year was pretty good. Yeah, it was a little too busy than normal.
Yeah.
But
Do you have contracts or do you make money
Both.
per? Okay.
I got both. I work out monthly for a couple and then just buy the plow.
Do you have to get out with your shovel and get out of the truck every now and then?
Just for snow blower stuff. No shovel.
Okay.
Don't really have to shovel. But I have to be a certain place by, 2 a.m. to make sure employees are in by 4:30.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm in huge trouble.
Right.
So you,
So
do you take contracts just to fill a day, or are you filled for a couple of days of shoveling or plowing?
it just goes per snowfall, and then I just work through the whole route, and then I'm done. And then the next snow comes, I'm back out again.
Yeah.
Yep, and I just bill monthly.
Yeah, keeps you busy in the winter. It's steady.
Yeah, the third most snowiest year in record.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So far.
A little busier than
so
normal.
far.
Come on, we're supposed to get more snow this weekend.
Don't say that.
I know.
It'll be on green grass and it'll melt.
Yeah, it won't be anything.
No,
You're not supposed to swear on the airwaves.
not real happy about that. Huh? That's the thing. It's our podcast. We can do what we want.
Whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't give up the snow plowing either. I like driving and being on the road and
Listening to podcasts.
listening to podcasts, and there's nobody else in my way. Usually in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Middle of the night during a snowstorm for sure.
Yeah. There's no traffic.
Yeah.
So
That's fun.
got its perks.
What's your favorite? Let's go back to wood. What's your favorite wood for flooring?
I kind of like birches and maples. I like stain. I'm not really a natural person. I like the way that stain goes against different colors and paint as well. Kind of make things really come alive and pop a little better too. More clean cut too. Yep.
Yeah. What about all the new products there are out there these days with the,
The vinyls and all that.
What about the bamboos or the different pre-finished?
Were you talking
hardwoods?
about finish? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, the bamboos are pretty popular. Normally they're engineered. They're not basically a raw material.
Do you ever sand them and refinish them?
Yeah, sometimes you got one shot at it
Yeah.
with the amount of wood that's on the top of the engineered.
What about the strand woven stuff? Have you ever messed around with that?
No, not really. The bamboo is a pretty tough wood.
Totally.
First of all, and the finish that they use is pretty tough too sometimes.
Yeah. I was wondering about that.
Who's at our door? Lori's going to go check the door.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I ask is I've installed, so that strand woven stuff, you can put it over top of hydronic heat.
Okay, and it won't expand at all.
Right.
I'm sure.
It's so stable that it can be over top of heat. So I've had a couple of clients that have had me put heat underneath and then the strand woven bamboo. But as you're installing it, I'm thinking, boy, if a finisher ever has to refinish this stuff, like, I don't know what they would do. It's so dense, so tough. So
You got to start with really aggressive paper. And you're going to go through a lot of it.
yeah.
Basically. But once you hit the wood, you got to back off. Otherwise, you're going right through to the underlayers.
Sure. Well, and that stuff is through body. It's
a solid.
It's solid all the way through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so I think they have a machine that weaves it, right, and then they compress it, so it's all one piece, but still heavily engineered. But
Right.
yeah. So you've got it was the new finishes. Like, did you kind of stick with some of the old oil stuff? Or
Yeah, I still use a lot of oil.
Do you?
I recommend it. They had recently had to modify their formula, probably to comply to some, chemical rules and stuff with the environment. And they're still hanging in there, but they're not as the way they used to be.
Yeah.
So what about, do you ever use water, or do you ever?
Yeah, I do water too. It's
Yeah.
kind of almost 50-50, out of the year. But I don't really push the water. Long term, it's just not as durable.
Do the oils, do they smell a little? Are they easier now, or are they still strong?
The oils still smell.
It's still
just
strong.
like an oil-based paint. Or
There's no low odor.
they're trying to work on the low VOC level
Yeah.
on those too. Yep. And I think with the new formula that the product that I use, they've achieved it a little bit.
Okay.
It's not as bad as the old formula.
Sure.
And it'll probably only get a little less smelly as time goes too. So yep.
Right.
Yeah, but no like Swedish finishes. I don't really mess with that too much, or tongue and groove oils or anything like that for flooring.
Yeah, we.
People do it though, don't they?
Some people do.
Yeah, and
They'll
swear
just-
by it.
They'll just do like wax or whatever
Yeah.
on a wood.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking about, because we just did a project at my house, so I thought that would be kind of neat to
Sure.
talk about.
Yeah.
So, because I was able to buy the house and not move into it for a couple of months, so I could get some things done. So we had Mike come in first and do all the flooring, sand everything down. The floors were like pretty rough. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was pea stains. They were flaking and had been touched up here and there. I mean, it was quite a job. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I thought was interesting is that he was looking at them ahead of time to see, like, oh, is this a oil base in this area versus, like, so you treat an area differently depending on what the surface was before.
Yeah, with the oil or the water.
Yeah, like
you
if
mean?
it was already an oil base, then you need to use oil on top of it, and vice versa, or how does that?
Not necessarily. What we went with years, you had oil. I believe you had the oil, and then we saved that spot in the corner to try to match what you wanted. So the oil that we put down in the stain was pretty close right away. If you had water, it wouldn't have looked that close.
Right.
Yep. So, but you did pick a really good color, and it looks great with the oil.
Yeah, it did come out really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get? So I'm guessing pea stains and red wine stains or whatever. How do you bleach it? What do you do? Because isn't there times where you can't get it out?
Yeah, the bleaching doesn't really do much for any kind of animal urine. Wine stains, I don't really see that too often. But you have to usually cut out the flooring and replace. And then the newer wood won't match perfectly. You can go hunt around and try to find reclaimed wood and fit that in. That could be like a witch hunt, though, sometimes, too. So usually people just use the new flooring and let the new urethane kind of start to blend it all back together after it ages for a while.
Sure.
Or even a darker stain right away will help, really blend that new repair in really well, too. Yep.
I think I've cleaned a lot of tongue and groove out to try and match some old. I can't even think of the projects, but the nails were pulled. I think was it the Reuse It?
The reuse center, yeah.
Would they had a salvage piece of the company that would go out and they'd call and say, "Are you interested in this or this?" And so we'd get to go through a house before they went through it, and we'd pick stuff if we needed it. But wire brushing the tongue and the grooves out, man, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's all gunked up from old finishes and stuff, and it never wants to go back together the right way.
No.
Because of that too.
Let alone it being a live product and moving product, as I think you mentioned something earlier about that, didn't you?
Full room install with reclaimed wood, the wood fights you the whole way.
Oh, I'm sure it
you're
does.
pounding 3 times harder, and you have gaps everywhere still. I mean, it just once that wood was set with that board next to it before, then you pull it and try to put it next to another board. It doesn't really work.
It misses its mate.
It misses its old mate.
Yeah.
Exactly. They were in harmony.
Yeah. Mean old humans, always
tearing apart flooring lives.
Yeah.
I have radiators in my house, so I thought that was pretty interesting because they have this tool. It's kind of got like a duck bill looking thing.
Yep, the radiator sander. So you don't have to pull radiators necessarily. The sander reaches all the way under and sands them. Then you hand scrape around the piping and the legs and stuff, and you're pretty much ready to go.
It's called a radiator tool?
Yeah, radiator sander. You can rent them at rental shops. Some rental shops still have them.
And does it just have like a sand?
Yeah, it's
plate?
just a little disc extended off the end of the machine, like an alligator bill or a duck bill.
Sure.
I think it reaches out about maybe 14 inches, give or take.
Plenty for most radiators.
Plenty for most radiators. Yep.
What are the? Can you just tell us about all the different tools you use? The different.
Well,
purposes?
for edging along the edges, we use the best machine would be the Clark Super 7 edger, and you can rent them at any rental shop. They always have a dozen of them. Some are worse than others. But the big machine, you can't always rent. What I have for that's a 220 hookup to a power box.
So you got to take the cover off of the.
Yep. Unplug his dryer so he can't dry his clothes before the show.
Yeah.
And run the machine off that breaker for a couple days so he can't do any laundry.
Yep.
It wasn't gonna anyway.
Yep. And then just the mechanics of that heavy duty machine, the RPM is so fast that you can really dig through a floor quick.
Is that a drum?
Yep, the big drum
Is there
sander.
a certain brand that you really like?
All the real professional guys like it. It's called the Hummel. It's a German floor sanding machine.
Okay.
I mean, it looks like an antique tool. I mean, is it? Because it looks like it's built in the 30s. Like.
Yeah, it's got kind of the same probably design as the original. It hasn't changed over decades.
Huh.
But it's a proven machine. It's just bulletproof. It just doesn't break.
Yeah.
You'll have little issues of maintenance issues and stuff, but they'll run for 50, 60 years easy.
How much does that thing weigh?
It's just under 200 pounds.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's
And
heavy.
I used to
but
have
not
to
so
carry. I used to carry it up and down stairs for the union job.
Yeah.
To make sure my time is right. Timing is good for everything, but it can break down into 2 pieces too.
Oh.
Yep, for easier moving.
So that's the first piece that goes through. Is you do the drum.
Yep.
First, and then the edges.
Then the edges. Yep, and then drum again, then edges again. Usually doing 3 or 4 abrasive cuts per floor.
What's the finest grit you use?
For maples and birches and stuff, you're talking about maybe 120 grit
Okay.
for a final, and then there's always a middle grit and a rough grit too. And then the oak with a natural, you're looking at 80 grit, or if you're going stain, stick with the 120.
What's the coarsest grit you've had to use?
They make 12 grit.
And you've had to use it?
I use it all the
rocks
time.
glued
Oh, you
to
do?
a piece
Rocks
of paper.
on paper. Yeah, it's like huge.
It's got to be.
Wow.
Yeah, and it just doesn't cob up. That's the thing. The finer, rough grit's like 36 grit. Everything will get in between, but
Sure.
with the 12 grit, nothing can really stick in between the rocks.
So you
So
can
you
pull
can get
up
a few more
paint?
feet.
Does it pull up paint?
Oh yeah, it rips up everything pretty well.
Well, then what's the next grit you jump to after a 12 then?
36 grit.
Okay. So that's a pretty big jump. I'm surprised.
Yeah, you can't jump too high.
And then a 60 maybe, or
Yep, exactly. Depending on the wood.
yeah.
But
And I imagine you burn through
boxes.
material.
Yeah. Like a black tar job, and they want us, keep the floor. And I've done the worst of the worst. I mean, some guys now they make a carbide tip blade for a buffer wheel.
Oh, sure.
So they can shave off the top layer of whatever crud is on top.
Wow.
But that wasn't always available. So it would be the 12 grit and 16 grit on the big machine.
So you really do it with it, pulling tar off.
Yeah. I get through the worst of it.
think
and
I've
then
heard-
there's so much beauty under there. You know, that's
Yeah.
what got me hooked.
Yeah, it is really pretty
Right.
when you get
Yeah.
down through the.
When you look at what's there and then what you created after getting all that slop off of there, it's pretty amazing.
I mean, I look at those floors every time I walk through my house. I'm just like, wow, this is so beautiful. These ancient 1930s oak floors,
Fully
just-
matured,
right?
Right.
wood.
There's what do you? Is it burl? No. What's quarter sawn? So they had
quartered and riffed.
like every fourth or fifth board is
Nice and
quarter
wavy,
sawn.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it has like a tiger grain in a lot of it. It's just the way they end up cutting a tree. It's a different way they cut it versus regular selector, standard grade wood.
And they put in. So there was one part of my house that had the little sunroom where we had some laminate flooring that looked like wood, and they tore that out and they put it in, and it looks great. It matches really well, but if you look at it, the size of the grain or the distance between the grain, it's like
Premature.
huge. Yeah.
Night and day. Yeah.
From the old stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But the
Nice.
stain kind of ties it all together.
Yeah.
The color helps.
You don't notice it unless you look up close, but you can tell how much quicker those trees were grown. Or,
Yeah, they're milling those trees at 20, 30 years old versus the old, original floors. Those trees are 300 years old,
Right.
fully mature. And some of the bird's eye maple that comes out of those older trees that are in these houses too is just amazing.
We were on a job site with an 1.25 inch oak, and they wanted it all pulled out. And I'm like, okay, I'm remodeling my own house. I can use that. And it's in, and I have it.
Yeah,
But it's so hard, isn't it, to see something pulled like that, and you just go, I hope it doesn't go to the garbage.
I would bring it home.
Yeah.
I would save it and use it.
you got a garage full of
At
salvage
one
stuff?
point, I did save a lot of
Yeah.
wood. Yeah. I was my own reuse center kind of supply house.
So did you want to not give it up, like a project would come up and you're like, well, I got
Yeah, some of the
but-
fancier boards I would keep.
Yeah.
But it depended on the job too.
Do you like mixed hardwood floorings, like mixing a walnut with an oak or a maple? Or
Yeah, to give it a good distinctive borderline around,
Yeah.
a house or a room. Yeah, it looks really nice. Or a
Yeah.
parallel even of Brazilian cherry.
Nice.
Yeah, it really looks nice and pops really nicely with some birch or light maple.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys are getting crazy. Crazy with
Wait till you
the
see my
woods.
house.
You can't mix woods.
Have you ever done a parquet? Have you ever done a parquet floor?
Yep, parquets are a little different because the grain goes one way and then it crosses and goes
Yeah.
the other way.
Is it harder to sand?
It is. You, at the end of it, when you do the buffing part, you have to worry about the cross-cut lines that you're leaving because you're always going to leave them with a parquet.
Right.
So you just gotta. We ended up just start sand disking them instead of a screen for a buff. It would be a sanding disc instead to just clean it all up at the end. Took me a while to figure it out, though. I was doing it the hard way with screens and still got it out, but it just took longer. But they do make sanding screens, too, for stuff like that. You put under a buffer now. Yep.
There just aren't that many areas of the house that you can talk about this in depth.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of processes just for doing one floor.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk insulation, we can talk windows and stuff, but floors, a good hardwood floor, it amazed me all the years that they covered them up with carpets and stuff, oh, I can't believe you got these old hardwood floors. Let's get some carpet on that. Like now they're,
They were just mainly for code,
Yeah.
for building the house, and everyone was into the carpet, though.
yeah.
I was
Which has benefits.
so excited to pull some laminate flooring out when I got my house, and it was a 1920s house, for sure that old part of the house had nice flooring under it. Well, I pulled it out, and they not only covered it with some plank flooring, but then they'd pulled the flooring out, and there was plywood there. So
Yeah.
they pulled the flooring out even.
Right.
Put some plywood. I'm like, no.
Yeah, get rid of that old oak.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the character of the old, you'd think that, you pull off boards with nails and layers of laminate flooring and all of that.
And tar.
You'd think that afterwards you'd be kind of like not that great, but the character is really cool, and especially if you have a good hardwood floor guy go over it afterwards and really shine it up nice. It's kind of neat with an old house to have
Brings
that
it back
character.
alive again.
It does.
Yep.
It does. I'm always amazed when you get floors refinished, just how awesome it looks.
Some people don't even know what they have under their floor, which was carpeted for 20, 30 years until I come and we pull back a corner
Yep.
to see what they have, and then they decide to do the job, and then the whole job, the carpet's gone and the floors are redone. They have thousands and thousands of dollars
Yep.
that were just covered up that long.
Yeah.
And their allergies are disappearing and everything
Right.
else in the same token.
Right?
you know.
Yeah.
Yep. Just
So-
not a fan of carpet.
In the 70s, there was really not much awareness for allergy symptom, I'm sure,
Right.
which we had in the big strike in the 80s,
Yeah.
where they were saying carpet is a number one factor
Right.
for your problem.
Yeah.
And I got into the flooring soon after that, and never
Good
went
move. Yeah.
back. Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick break, and we will come back for a second half here.
Sounds good.
All right.
We will be back to the show after a few quick ads from our valued sponsors. Wonder Woman Construction is a Minneapolis-based, woman-owned residential and commercial construction and electrical company. Lori and her team pride themselves on their commitment to long-term green and sustainable building practices, and they apply their deep understanding of building science to each project they take on. They are dedicated to the complete satisfaction of every client. One more thing that you absolutely cannot miss about Wonder Woman Construction is the fact that every employee loves what they do and truly enjoys working with each other. The best projects are those that are done by happy people, and Wonder Woman Construction is full of happy people. Visit wonderwomanconstruction.com to get started on your happiest project ever. Kinetic Legacy is the company that powers the JoContractor app. Their unique platform blends the good parts of social tech with their one-of-a-kind data organizing system, giving communities large and small a safe, private space to stay connected and to keep information and memories organized. If you and your community have a shared purpose or passion and are looking for a better way to stay connected, contact Kinetic Legacy today at kineticlegacy.us. Find out how groups from contractors to campers, tribal communities, unions, and alumni organizations are finding their way to meaningful new spaces in this increasingly digital world. Again, that's kineticlegacy.us. The JoContractor Show doesn't let just any old company put an ad in the middle of a show this important. They have to pay us. Send us an email if you're certain your business should be featured on our show.
All right. We are back with the second half of our show. So, Mike,
Yes.
good to have you in here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How did you pick the name? What's the name of your business? Is it
Halsey Hardwoods.
Okay.
Yeah, how'd you pick that?
My name stands behind my business.
Nice.
Halsey Hardwoods. It matches, kind of.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep.
It's a proven way to go.
H&H.
Well, you got
Put your name behind your business.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. I'm Wonder Woman, right?
Oh, I get it. Yeah, it's one of those things. If you're like on the smaller side in the construction world, that's what you do. You name your business after yourself, and then people know who this
I'm
is.
so excited for my son to take over and name and be Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
He might have to
good
change
for
a
him.
few things.
Oddly, he just doesn't. I mean, that's a new generation. They don't care. He's
No.
very proud of it.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah.
Different. Yeah. So woods. So we spent 10 minutes or something talking about different woods, but that's because wood is awesome.
Sure.
Yeah.
Here's a question. When it was not the question I wanted to ask, but I'll remember that. I know my woods, and been a fine woodworker, and I know my exotics and domestic woods. You show me a tree, and I don't know what the hell kind of tree it is. I'm like, one day I really hope to know what kind of tree. I could maybe pick out a walnut and an oak and a maple, not distinctively red oak or white oak, but one day that would be my goal, is to know the tree versus the wood.
I don't even really know the tree.
You don't?
Not
Oh,
really.
good.
I can
don't
tell
feel
by
so
the
bad.
grain.
Yeah,
I got to look at the inside of the tree.
I'm like, cut it down and I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah. Nowadays,
I
I
thought
think
you
they have a
would-
way to take a picture of it and just they ID the tree.
Yeah,
Yep,
true.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
guess I don't need to learn.
No, you can rely on your little robot friend there that you carry around with
Yeah.
you to just tell you what the tree is these days.
Right. That's true.
I'm
Yeah.
still stumped once in a great while, but for flooring, you only have a few selection of exotics. Like kumaru, it's like an African cherries, Brazilian cherries,
Brazilian
and
cherry.
Brazilian walnuts.
Yep.
Those are pretty easy to spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a lot of it from there on is kind of domestic woods. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you get most of your hardwood flooring material from a specific supplier, or do you kind of shop around for different types?
It depends on what I have to do for the customer too. Or if you have repair to do, you got to be kind of picky about what you put in the floor, or it won't fit right. But we mainly use a lot of the Minnesota distributors. They use Northwoods flooring. They're in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And they supply us with oak, both red and white, and they do maple and a little bit of hickory. I don't think they do anything else.
Do they mill it, or do they?
Yeah, they harvest
here?
and mill
Right.
on their own site in Wisconsin. I don't know the whole detail, but there's a lot of competition with southern woods. There's like 5 or 6, even 8 different mills that they truck their wood up here to.
Yeah, I feel like I know the owners of Northern Hardwoods. I'm pretty sure I do. That's a big outfit.
Yeah. Yep. There's 2 separate companies I kind of found out recently. We were talking cabinets. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the one that I get my supplies from just mill flooring or if they mill other things. All I know is they're out of Wisconsin.
Sure.
Yeah, so they're not too far.
And it's really great that it's milled locally.
Yeah,
Milled
pretty
and
much. Yep.
cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
But a lot of semi trucks shipping that southern stuff up here too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yep. And some of that wood works better for repair, but it's a different style of wood as far as grain. The environment where it came from, it could be swampy.
Yep.
So the wood's a little wilder in the grain. You can tell the difference between northern and southern wood for sure. Yeah, there's a big
If you
big
cut them
difference.
open. Yeah.
If you cut them open.
Yeah.
You get a lot more wild grain from southern than you do northern.
Oh, weird.
I think it's just because of the moisture factor.
What's that mean?
The southern oaks and maples and stuff like that are more wild grain. More characteristic
Oh, okay.
grain than a traditional northern oak or maple.
Yeah, I mean, our trees are slower growing
Yeah,
generally,
because
too.
of the climate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Southern, they kind of go year round.
They stop here in the winter, you're saying?
Yeah.
Like everything else?
Well, I know like northern Wisconsin and Michigan are faster growing than we are because of all the lake effect snow and stuff. And so the trees, a 30-year-old maple in northern Wisconsin is different than a 30-year-old maple in central Minnesota. So
Sure.
Yeah.
It's more dormant, maybe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you like cherry wood?
Yeah, cherry's really nice.
Yeah.
Yep. I
That's
don't
one of
really
my
see a lot of
favorites.
it, but when I do, I kind of know what it is right away because it's kind of distinctive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one of my
It's got
favorites.
got that nice color. Yep.
Yeah. So aside from floors and plowing,
Yeah.
what else do you do with your time?
Raise a family. Married with 2 young children.
Yeah. How young?
2 and 5.
Holy cats.
I know. I said that earlier too. Like,
Really?
You're busy.
Yeah. I'm 55 this December.
Okay, I wasn't going to ask, but
I'm a late bloomer, I guess.
yeah. Well, I have a 9-year-old sister, and I'm 50, almost 48.
Yeah.
So my dad's I know how it works, but but yeah, starting a family late in life, huh?
Yep.
2 and 5.
Yep.
So you had a lot of free time prior to that. So you had your free time, and now you get to have some.
I had
busier
my free time, my workaholic days, and now I'm kind of trying to settle more at home and work a regular schedule.
Yep.
Which is a little hard to do. You're always getting pulled one way or another.
Boys or girls? Or
one of each.
One of each. Oh,
Yep.
That's nice.
Yep. The girls 2, the boys 5.
Yep.
So his name's Levi, and my daughter's name's Caitlin.
Cute.
Thank you.
Fun.
Yeah, I really.
So fun.
When we didn't really have like a hard deadline because I had got the property way before I needed to move into it.
Right.
But I really respected the fact that, Mike, prioritized his family responsibilities. Getting his kids to school, spending time, and really, there's just not enough fathers that are really just digging into the
Dadhood.
Yeah, I just respect that.
Sometimes waiting is better.
You gave me a big deadline. I had a lot of room in there, so I was able to do it too, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Well, I've got a 6-year-old, so I know, and then I've got a 15 and a 14 or 16 and a 14-year-old. But I would say I'm a little bit older dad than a lot of like her peers at school and stuff. And I know that
Sure.
It's different with that maturity. It's different being a little bit older parent. And do you find yourself like, did you get a lot of good baby naps in?
Yeah, my wife did most of that.
Okay.
Yep. But I did too.
I just
still
loved
do.
letting the baby sleep on my chest. Like, we got this, buddy.
Yeah.
I didn't want to break her. That's the one
Yeah,
thing.
you were worried about that?
Yeah, I was worried about breaking her. So
Yeah.
I let mom do the real, touchy stuff, and then now she's more durable. I can sleep with her and hug her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yep.
They're
So where did you
definitely fun.
grow up?
In South Minneapolis.
Oh, you did?
Yep. Yeah, I went to Armitage and Anthony in Southwest.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say you were a
Southwest.
farm kid or something.
Nope.
Hardworking.
No.
Yeah.
No, right here, city boy, my whole life.
Yeah,
Hardworking
I would
city
have
boy.
guessed. I was there with you.
Yeah.
I figured you were a country boy.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's always been the old adage is that they don't make people who go into the trades in the cities. They all come off the farm and
Sure.
come to town and do work. But
Well, it must have been my work ethic that my mom taught me.
yeah,
What'd your mom do?
She was a nurse for a very long time.
Okay.
She dabbled in other things too.
And your dad?
My dad, he's passed a long time, but he was a paramedic and
Okay.
also Minneapolis police.
Wow. So a couple of hard workers.
Yeah, oh yeah,
That's a good
yeah.
example.
sure, yep.
So South Minneapolis, what part? Just curious.
Southwest
Okay.
Minneapolis, Lake
Yeah.
Harriet, behind Lake Harriet.
Yeah,
Yep, and down, yep.
yeah.
Over by Wagner's greenhouses.
Yeah. Are you still in Minneapolis?
I was up until a couple of years ago. We moved to Bloomington.
Okay.
Kind
So you got one of those big yards?
preparing for family and needed more room, and we're real close to the school out there too, so it's really nice.
Yeah, I always have a little bit of garage envy and stuff when I
I do too.
drive through those areas.
I
I'm
love
like,
this city, but
holy
man,
shit! Look
I
at these
know.
people.
Yeah.
They've got multiple stalls in their garages.
I have that now.
Yeah.
I can open my door from my kitchen and throw a tool on the bench.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. I never had that luxury.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry as much with your kids running when they get a little older, running off into the neighborhood. I'm always like, man, city people are just coming from anywhere. There's so many people here.
And crazy drivers sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, did I hear you say you like to fish?
Yeah.
Or something
when
about
I have
fishing?
time, I'd like to do fishing trips.
The ice
and-
being gone or something like that?
Yeah, it's going to be about that time to get out here soon. Hunting too.
Yeah.
I want to kind of carry that on to my son too. Teaches you more responsibility too, right off the bat, with being outdoors and being responsible outdoors for sure.
Yep. Yeah. What?
Or your daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah. What sort of hunting do you do?
Just bird.
Okay.
Pheasant, duck, grouse.
Yeah.
Upland game bird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I know my daughter is my best fishing companion. Mm-hmm. My boys, they'll fish with me, but my daughter is like all over it. She will sit there all day with Daddy, and she pays attention, and she actually cares about. So she catches more fish than the boys do. But
yeah, they're distracted. They're not really.
Yeah, they're like, let's go play.
I'm kind of like your boys.
Give me a Game Boy or something.
Right.
Yep. I'm hoping my daughter's that way. She's really into Dad.
Yeah.
Yep. She's that type of daughter.
Cute.
So, yep.
Oh, I love
She's
it.
not happy until I'm home, actually. So we got to hurry it up here. Just
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Let's wrap this up. I got a kid to get home to. That's cute, though. Yeah. But open water fishing, not a lot of ice fishing.
A little bit. That
A little
too.
bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
I like to move around though when I'm fishing. Sitting waiting for it to come out of a hole is a little
that's
tougher.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to move around and ice fish, but I know what you mean. Like some people just go sit, and I'm more mobile.
Yeah. Yep.
Go find them. But
What other hobbies?
I don't know. Back in the day, dirt biking and stuff like that, trail riding. Got to get back into it. I was waiting for the kids to grow up.
With
I
a
sold
motor?
all my
with,
toys.
With a motor? Like
yeah,
dirt
with
biking?
a motor. Yeah, with a motor.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, well, it might come back around. I'm doing that now.
that's right.
Yeah.
Kids are older and I'm getting all these toys.
Yep.
Yeah. You've gotten all geared up.
I am. Not done. No, I hope I'm done. No. Kinda.
Kids are older, and they're like, "Oh, you couldn't have the fun stuff when I was around." Right.
Right? We got to teach them how to use them since we didn't have them.
Right. Growing up in the cities.
Yep.
So after your floor being done for a while, do you notice like a change in the color? Is it getting darker on you, or?
I haven't noticed.
Yeah. Well, over
much of a
time, it's
change.
going to keep doing that. It's a little more amber. It's just going to keep on kind of darkening slowly.
Right.
It's just the nature of the product.
Yeah, I did notice that there's maybe one stain that still has that you can see, like that's noticeable, but it was a really bad one. And it's like upstairs where it's kind of off to the side anyway. But I was amazed with how well, because it was really stained. Like there were stains everywhere.
There's like animal pee stains up and down.
How many times would you sand a floor?
You can usually get 7 to 8 usually out of if you got solid hardwood.
Yeah.
Even existing home, I mean, you're probably only looking at it's been sanded maybe 3 times.
Sure. So you could go 7 to 8. I didn't know that.
A good way to be able to tell is just stick a business card down into the crack and then pull it up to see where you're at.
Sure.
But that would really only go to the tongue.
It would go right to the tongue. That's where you want to be. Yep. And then you take off maybe 30-second fraction on a resand each time too. So you're not taking off too much, 1/16 maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Depending on how aggressive, what
How
you
much
have
damage
to do.
there is.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
how much you have to do to get it clean again.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of different sands out of one floor. And then some of the older maples too, like gym flooring, that's actually thicker on the top.
It's got a thicker wear layer or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So because it's maybe meant more for gyms because they could resand the gym more often too.
Sure.
But all the gyms I've sanded, they just keep putting coats on them. So you got to sand off like 20 coats of poly by the time,
Right.
by the time you get it done.
And how many coats do you put on?
It's normally a wood sealer and 2 thick poly, and then I recommend getting an extra coat right off the bat, so you don't have to worry about it later. You're good for a good 30 years with good minimal traffic.
Yeah.
Right.
You're okay. You're good.
How
And
about-
you can always call me back for another one too.
How about curing time? What do you recommend before you put your couch back on it?
I usually tell people because they're anxious to get moved
Right.
in again.
Right.
You don't want to be displaced. So I usually tell them just ease into it, do the light stuff first, put pads under everything. And then maybe bring in the heavier stuff, after, 3 or 4 or 5 days. And don't drag anything on the floor. It's a big no-no.
Right.
I've had
So-
people use a towel or a big comforter to even drag a stove across the floor, and they still scratch the floor.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got
Radiators.
to try to fix that.
Yeah.
And then they recommend you wait 2 to 3 weeks for big rugs, big area
So
rugs.
24, 48 hours for the first light stuff?
Yeah.
So why do you wait with the big rugs? I've heard that before.
Yeah, it probably slows down on the breathing of the floor to harden up and cure a little. It just kind of slows that process down. It's like putting a gag over your mouth. You're not breathing as well. You want the floor to breathe.
And can that affect the way that it looks?
It could possibly. UV rays is going to really factor in there too. If you get a lot of sunlight in your room, and you pull back that rug in a year, and
We've all seen
you
it.
see
Yeah.
that line,
Yeah.
that's usually all UV rays. There's really no way around it. They do make a UV film you can put on your windows, which helps cut that down.
Oh, sure.
Yep. But I don't know if that really makes sense in the real world. I
Yeah.
think some windows now, some manufacturers are even doing a certain percentage of that
Yeah.
UV
Yeah.
block.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
There's
Yeah, I think-
R factors and U
Is it
factors.
Andrew, is that our guest for talking about the windows?
Yep.
Yeah, he was talking
Yep.
about that.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
What were you saying, Lori? Sorry.
There's U factors and R factors, and they're all different numbers. And so, I mean, you do want some passive solar, but on the other hand, you don't want too much sunlight, burning through either.
Right.
So those numbers were important. They are important. So people don't really know that when they order a window, and that depends on the side of your house. Did you really need that low E on the north side, or your
Right.
U factors can be different depending on the side of the house it's at.
Yep.
Yep.
Building sciences.
Yep.
That's Lori's specialty.
Yeah, I'm more of a same or similar kind of guy. You know?
Just throw in the windows. Numbers, schmumbers. That's funny. Well, as we wrap up here, so what's the name of your company again? Halsey Hardwoods.
Halsey Hardwoods,
Yeah.
based out of Minneapolis.
Yeah, and you're going to stick with it for a while. So if someone's listening to this 2 years from now, they're not going to be like, oh, they're not around anymore.
Yeah, I'll still be around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you'll
I'm
be
not
doing
going
it.
anywhere.
That's
I'm not
good.
moving. So
Yeah.
That's always important.
Yeah.
People want to count on you.
Yeah.
I was a member of the Better Business Bureau for a while too. That's the only information I would have out there online.
No,
You have
no
a web-
website?
No website.
Oh.
Nothing.
Oh, I like
So all
it.
word of mouth.
It's all word of mouth.
Nice.
Yep. And I do have built quite a clientele in the last 30 years. So
Yeah.
just keeps repeating. New calls, new clients from old referrals.
So 30 years is how long the floor lasts. You'll be able to do some over again.
Yeah, I've done a few a little shorter, and they still look nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
How much of it do you do commercial versus residential?
Commercials, probably, I don't know, 20% per year versus the residential.
Because that's where we met, was on a commercial job. It was a big,
Big downtown affair.
yeah,
Yep.
like an old warehouse or a old factory floor, probably.
Yeah, it was an old dock
Yeah.
building. They had forklifts and stuff driving on this old maple, and
Yeah.
I think they beat it up pretty good, but we got it looking good again.
Nice.
Yep. Had some repair work to do there, and they did a lot of renovation in that.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
That's for the seed company, Revis.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we did. That was a great project. Worked in there all winter.
Yep. Well, since you don't have a website, we won't give people a web address to go to. But, if you're looking for flooring in South Minneapolis, call Mike.
Sure. Appreciate it.
Yeah, anything else out there you want to mention or plug? Or
Not really.
All right.
Great.
Kind of figured, yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming in
Sure.
Thanks, Mike.
and chatting with us.
Sure. Appreciate it.
Very informative.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to another amazing episode of the most important show out there. Before we go, we want to thank you again for supporting us and for all the lovely things you say about us on social media. Shows like this grow with help from people like you. And remember, keep sending us your questions. We really appreciate the stories and the great insights we gain from our audience. We also want to remind you that you can buy shirts, hats, and more at JoContractorshow.com. Be good to each other, and we'll catch you on the next show.